Welcome to the Now South Florida. We're following breaking news out of West Palm Beach right now. Take a look at your TV screen. Officers need your help finding these children and their mother pictured here. They were seen last Friday. The children's father is concerned for all of their safety. It's believed they're traveling in a 2009 brown Kia Rondo with the Florida license plate Y73XSV. We're also following a developing story out of Boynton Beach where police are searching for the person who killed a 17-year-old. The deadly shooting happened overnight on Arthur Court near Seacrest Boulevard. That's where the Now Sabira Rayford is live this afternoon. Sabira?
Well, Boynton Beach police say the teenager was found shot in the car a little after 1 this morning. Now, neighbors in this area say that they heard a barrage of gunshots. Bullets from this shooting damaged nearby cars, homes. One neighbor told me the shots woke him up out of his sleep. Now, Troy Lewis says he knew the teenager who was shot and believes he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
He got in trouble. He'd go to work. He had 2 jobs. For 17 years old, 2 jobs and play sports. You know, he was keeping himself busy away from the bull. And now he's unfortunately gone.
Now, police have not released the name of the shooting victim, but coming up at 5, we actually walk these streets with the new Boynton Beach police chief, and he's going to talk to us about his plan to help curb the violence. Reporting live in Boynton Beach, Sabira Rayford for the Now South Florida.
Meantime, there are more officers on the street this afternoon in Riviera Beach. It comes after a series of attacks, including Monday night when a 22-year-old woman was killed and 5 men were shot. Mayor Thomas Masters has called for a special town hall meeting this Friday. He hopes people will provide the answers needed to stop the violence.
And weather-wise, it's another really warm day here in South Florida with some of you popping into the middle 90s. In fact, right now, Fort Pierce coming in at 94 degrees, Vero 92, not as hot as yesterday, but still quite toasty. But notice Okeechobee right now 79 because you had some recent rainfall, but you factor in the humidity and it feels like 105 right now in Stewart, feeling like the triple digits at the airport in West Palm Beach. Now we do have a couple of showers and storms that we're watching. You can see a few moving across Okeechobee County. These right here will be making a race up towards Indian River County from Vero Beach through Sebastian within the hour. Also, a couple of showers and storms right around the Pahokee area, and these making their way up towards Indiantown. In the meantime, into Palm Beach County, we do have a few showers and storms inland, but these will clip Wellington and then make a run up towards the Gardens and up towards Jupiter. Otherwise, if you're stepping out this evening, we do have some showers and storms around, but they're widely scattered, so not everyone will see them, but they will be around through about 9 p.m. Then after that, we're going to start to dry things out. Temperatures eventually dropping down into the lower 80s.
Let's check out our lineup, a preview of the other stories we're going to be talking about throughout the hour, and this one's alarming. We all know companies are constantly gathering our data from things like we're buying and eating to what we're watching on TV, maybe what we're posting online. Well, now health insurers, they want that information. Could determine what we pay for insurance, so we're going to get you filled in on that one. Also, heads up next time that you're shopping for a car. Now, there's a new rule that some dealerships, they just aren't following, and it could end up costing you thousands of dollars. We have good information there as well. And this one definitely caught our attention. Women who make more than their husbands caught lying about their salary, and it's just to make their man feel, well, more manly. Yeah, we're digging into that one today, really interesting. And also, hey, getting enough sleep is a common problem for so many of us. So today on The Now, we're looking at some new solutions in the works for a pretty common sleep disorder.
A 4th victim has been found from the deadly double plane collision in the Everglades. We brought you news of that incident yesterday afternoon. Among the victims, flight instructor Ralph Knight of Lantana. The National Transportation Safety Board has taken over that investigation. Earlier this afternoon, we alerted you about police investigating a bomb threat at Palm Beach International Airport. Sheriff's deputies tell us a call came in around noon and nothing was shut down or evacuated. Deputies tell us the call was unfounded. Stopping traffic to make a statement, dozens of people laid down at a popular South Florida intersection to protest the separation of parents and children at the border. Today's protest was near an ICE office in Miramar. The group wants the agency to be shut down. Meantime, the White House faces an upcoming deadline to reunite all of the families. A hurricane hearing on Capitol Hill got a little heated today and turned into a debate about Lake Okeechobee between the U.S. Army Corps and Treasure Coast Congressman Brian Mast. Take a listen.
So we have to balance the multiple purposes and potential uses.
So
with
in
risk of
balancing
life
those
property
purposes,
downstream.
sir, I had a conversation just a couple weeks back with the South Florida Water Management District. I asked them about the ecology of the lake. They said the optimum level of the lake for its ecology is at minimum 11 feet. So is it right that you keep the water at this higher level when my community is destroyed because this water is at that higher level, when you're still going to send the water to these other areas for their purposes, even if the water is down as low as 8 feet on Lake Okeechobee?
Now, Mast is seeking re-election and has been pushing for legislation to fix the algae issue. According to the Army Corps of Engineers records, the water level was roughly 14 feet as hurricane season started on June 1st. As of yesterday, it was roughly 14.5 feet. Another hot topic on Capitol Hill, Russia, and whether it's meddling in U.S. affairs. President Trump was asked about that earlier today.
Is Russia still targeting the U.S., Mr. President?
Press,
let's go. Make your way out. No, you don't believe that to be the case?
A couple of hours later, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the president meant no to questions from the reporters.
Let's get to the Now newsfeed. These are important stories that we tell you without wasting your time. And we hear about the rising suicide rate in America. Well, now the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline says it is seeing more calls. Their calls doubled between 2014 and 2017. They say it's a sign that more people are getting help. Papa John's founder John Schnatter, he's ready to take his former company to court, saying today it was a mistake to quit. He's actually hired the same lawyer who is currently representing Harvey Weinstein. Schnatter resigning after it was revealed that he used a racial slur during a May phone call. Check out these monster flames today. This is in Milwaukee. This is a chemical truck that went up in flames. Yeah, a car hit it early this morning, caused all of this, and as bad as it looks, no one was injured. Well, it's very important to be skeptical of really any phone call you get these days. That's the latest warning we're getting in from the government today. They say that callers, they're pretending to be with the Social Security Administration. Yeah, and they have tricks to try to get you to hand over your personal information. The callers, they often pretend to be with the SSA headquarters. And they'll ask you for personal information before they continue the call, like your social security number, address, birthday. Some callers will pretend that they're helping you fill out an application involving your social security benefits. Now, one thing that investigators emphasize is that if you get one of these phone calls, remember that you're in control, that you don't owe anyone any information. Now, there are times when the Social Security Administration will call you, but you'll know ahead of time. They'll usually give you a callback number with an extension, and then you use that number to confirm that it is really the Social Security Administration on the other end. All right, let's get back to our lineup here. In this next story, it's wild. Health insurers, they're trying to get their hands on as much information about you as they can. Yeah, it's to figure out just how much you should be paying for health insurance. Yeah, we're going to get into that when the Now continues. Hey, welcome back to the Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and another drug company is stopping prices from going up. Novartis announced today that it's not going to raise prices this year. Yeah, it makes medicine like Ritalin and then drugs that treat cancer and migraines. Just last week, Pfizer decided to pull back on price increases this summer. Now, earlier this year, the White House announced that drug companies would roll back prices on a temporary basis. So far, only these two companies have actually done that. Well, you're not going to like this. Our health insurance companies, well, they could be looking for a new reason to charge you more. Yeah, they're buying up data to do it. They want to know, what are you buying? What are you watching? What are you even posting online? The Now's Corey Rangel breaking down how they could use that to figure out your insurance rates.
According to a new report, health insurance companies are tracking a list of things about you, including your race, education level, the things you buy, what you eat, and the time you spend watching TV. Health insurers are paying data brokers to get that information and can then use it to determine how much your health care could cost them.
This concerns me because I think it will affect how much people pay for their health insurance. And I think it could also discriminate against patients who are already at a disadvantage.
An investigation by NPR and ProPublica found insurance companies even know if someone buys plus-size clothing or lives in a high-risk neighborhood, which could increase health risk according to companies collecting your data.
This information is being used to possibly penalize patients rather than help them.
But insurance companies say they use the information to catch health issues and help patients get the care they need. While patient advocates are skeptical, they wonder if insurance companies would ever lower rates based on what they collect.
Say I have a gym membership, or I post on Facebook that I'm going out for a 4-mile run. Could health insurers use that information to reward healthy behaviors?
For the Now, I'm Corey Rangel.
All right, Corey, thank you. And a new feature for your Gmail account could put you more at risk for phishing attacks. That's what the Department of Homeland Security is warning. ABC News got access to its intelligence note, and it calls out the confidential email feature in Gmail. Now, the feature is supposed to protect your sensitive information. It stores your most private emails in another place through a link. But Homeland Security worried that hackers, they could exploit that. Google tells ABC News the new feature poses no additional security risk beyond what people are already exposed to online. Well, right now, rideshare company Lyft investigating how a former driver passed its background check. That man charged with multiple counts of rape. The government says he's living in the U.S. illegally as well. The man accused of raping 4 women while posing as a driver in San Francisco. Lyft says they have no reason to believe that these incidents actually happened while he was actually taking rides for the company.
And right now, a couple of showers and thunderstorms starting to form into interior Palm Beach County. And with the southwesterly winds, these will start to make a run towards the metro areas over the next hour or so. So if you're going to be on I-95 or the Turnpike over the next 1 to 2 hours, you will get a couple of raindrops as these systems start to push towards the east coast. Again, coming in on those southwesterly winds. The other story, the heat. It is really hot once again. In fact, today, Vero Beach back into the middle 90s, 96 degrees. That was the high for today. Not the record 98, but still quite close. Elsewhere, 93 in Stewart at the airport in West Palm Beach. We hit a temperature of 92. And right now with the humidity, this is what it's feeling like. It feels like 105 in Jupiter. It feels like 104 into Indiantown and 101 right now over towards Vero Beach. Now over the next couple of days, temperatures do remain quite warm. 92 degrees Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Feeling warmer than that when you factor in the humidity. A little bit cooler as we head into Sunday and Monday with temperatures right around 91 degrees. Now in the tropics, we're seeing quiet conditions from the Gulf into the Caribbean and all the way out into the Atlantic. So at least for the next 5 days, we're not anticipating anything out of the tropics. Tonight, though, some evening showers through about sunset. Then after that, we'll start to dry things out. An overnight low of 76 degrees.
This next story is just too cute. There is no one too small a South Florida firefighter will not rescue. 10 ducklings fell down a storm drain in Deerfield Beach. Look at that. A fire rescue worker used a net to pull them out to safety. He put them all in a container there to try to keep them together. Those ducklings, as you can see, were eventually reunited with their mother. Over in Tampa, the battle over our beaches continues. A viral video shows a Florida man being kicked off a Walton County beach, all because of where he was sitting. Take a look.
You asked him where you could sit. He said you could sit in the wet sand. So I can put it right here.
So that man had been escorted off. This is part of Santa Rosa Beach for 2 straight days. He says the new state law allowed the private community that owns that portion of the sand to call law enforcement. The sheriff says his deputies are just following the law.
This new order means that some nut job can't throw you off the beach. I brought this with me, and I showed it to the security officer, and I showed it to the deputy both days, and it did not help.
I understand their passion. The problem is this issue needs to be resolved in a court of law or with the Florida legislature.
So right now, this situation is unique to Walton County. Many beach towns, including many right here in South Florida, already have local laws in place to protect beachgoers. Time is running out for anyone who wants to vote in August primary elections. The deadline to register is July 30th. That deadline also applies to anyone who wants to switch parties. You can register online at registertovoteflorida.gov. We also have that link on our website.
That Thailand boys soccer team who survived nearly 3 weeks in a cave, they're now out of the hospital. And we're finally hearing from them for the very first time. Now it's Chris Walsh with today's update.
The Wild Boars soccer team departing the hospital where they've been recovering since they spent more than 2 weeks trapped underground in a flooded cave system in northern Thailand. One of their first stops, a joint press conference complete with matching uniforms and soccer balls. Appearing to a round of applause, the boys appeared happy. They took turns speaking, and they say they felt worse for their loved ones.
I also want to say sorry to my mom and dad. I didn't tell them I was going to go to the cave. I just said I was going to go for a practice round of football on the field. I would like to say I'm sorry because I told my parents the wrong cave.
On the question of why they went in the cave in the first place, the boys' coach said it was simply that they were curious to visit a cave they'd never been inside before. They said that moment that a rescue diver breached the surface of the water inside the cave, they were shocked. And as to the rescue itself, the coach said despite reports suggesting otherwise, all the boys could swim. He also described one way they communicated with divers in other parts of the caves, a system of ropes.
And every time, that I shook the ropes, twice, that means, I can get out, from this spot.
In terms of larger life lessons, yes, there were definitely those. They say it's taught them not to live carelessly and to always have a plan.
We have experienced, lots of devastating experiences. We have to be more careful, and we have to check everything more carefully.
Reporting for The Now, I'm Chris Welch.
All right, Chris, thank you. And today, Elon Musk apologizing to this man involved in that cave rescue. Now, we told you earlier this week that he accused the man of being a pedophile. This was in a tweet. Well, the British diver had criticized the mini submarine that Musk sent to help with the rescue. He called it a PR stunt. Today, Musk took to Twitter again, tweeting that his actions against me do not justify my actions against him. Well, let's keep you quickly updated on these stories in the Now newsfeed. Europe is fining Google $5 billion. Google forced Android phone makers to install their apps, and lawmakers say that made it unfair for others who were trying to compete. Well, the war on straws continues as Marriott Hotel is now removing plastic straws and drink stirrers from its location. Yeah, the move will get rid of 1 billion straws by 2019, Marriott joining Starbucks and other companies making this move. Well, soon, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, there's going to be a new competitor for streaming video, Walmart. Now, the company wants to make a streaming service of its own. It would cost $8 a month, which is around $3 less than what Netflix charges. Well, next in our lineup, we could all use a little extra sleep, and one common sleep disorder is keeping us up at night. When the Now continues, a look at some new treatment options that are in the works. Seems like more people have sleep apnea. Yeah, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine says at least 25 million people in the U.S. living with that disease. And there are a lot of devices that are supposed to help. You can get restraints, there are mouthpieces you can use, even surgical implants, but now a pill could be on the way to help. Yeah, this pill is known as dronabinol. It contains THC. It was originally created for cancer patients going through chemo. During a clinical trial, patients' sleep apnea symptoms, they went down by 33%. That's huge. Now, some researchers say the pill may work better because it targets the brain. Other devices really only target the physical problem, not the cause of it. Now, other experts think the pill may work better in combination with those other devices. Now, it is already approved by the FDA, but again, it's only for patients who are going through chemo. Now, a lot of specialists right now prescribe CPAP. It's that mask that pumps air into patients. It's to open up the airway. About a third of people actually just end up giving up using it. That's because they say it's uncomfortable and just isn't convenient. Well, teens' social media use may be linked to symptoms of ADHD. Yeah, this is new information from a JAMA study. It looked at teens for 2 years. And the more social media activities they took part in, the more likely they reported symptoms. Activities like social networking, texting, playing games, even online shopping. Now researchers are trying to figure out what causes that connection. Well, take a close look at this MRI right here. That shape, it kind of looks like pebbles. That's a worm. Yeah, a woman in France went to the emergency room after feeling electric shocks in her legs. Turns out she had a tapeworm in her spine. Yeah, she's had surgery. She was given medication. Doctors, though, still trying to figure out how she ended up getting it. Well, hey, losing a pet, it's tough. Everybody knows that. And a family had their spirits boosted when Burger King offered to pay for the rest of their dog's final meals. The family tweeted that they started giving the 10-year-old dog plain cheeseburgers. It was to help get his cancer medication down. But one day an employee asked why they kept ordering these burgers, and when they told the dog's story, the manager said he would cover the costs until the animal passed away. Well, we do have a lot more to talk about here on The Now. Let's get back to our lineup, and this is certainly going to get you talking, had us talking. Women who make more than their husbands caught lying about their salary, and it was just to make their man feel, well, more manly. So we're digging into what's going on there when The Now continues. Welcome back to The Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and we start the news feed in this half hour with doctors working on a way to diagnose CTE in living people. Right now, you can only find it during an autopsy. A new study says doctors are comparing brains of living military personnel and retired football players. CTE, it has been tied to depression, dementia, even suicide. Former Vice President Joe Biden setting a deadline on when he'll decide to run for president. He says he's going to make the decision by January. Biden's 75 years old. CVS is doing more to hire military veterans. The company expanding a program to bases in Hawaii and Virginia. It lets military members train to work with CVS as they get close to ending their service.
Well, the Stony Brook saga continues in Riviera Beach. For weeks, we've reported on the deplorable conditions residents say they've lived in for years: mold, holes in the walls, and leaks. Tonight, the Riviera Beach City Council will discuss approving a project that could improve their lives. And for the first time ever, I spoke with the management company responsible for that complex.
We're here. That's why we're here. We're here to help.
That message from representatives with Millennia Housing. The Ohio-based company is responsible for Stony Brook Apartments, where residents say they've been dealing with mold, leaks, and infestations. Why do you think those issues were ongoing for so long, and, why the residents were having to deal with that?
I can't speak to why they existed for so long. I can tell you that we've had a team of people here addressing all of these issues.
This week, reps are in town walking the property and meeting with code enforcement as they continue inspections, citing which units are unsafe.
We've been accompanying them and walking through so that we're all on the same page as to what needs to be done here.
On Monday, more frustration from residents at a Riviera Beach Council meeting.
It has crushed my heart for you guys to allow this place to run to hell.
These people don't need to live like they're in a third world country.
Millennia says it's investing $13 million into rehabbing all 216 units.
It's a full renovation of the property, including every single unit that's going to be down to the studs, all new kitchens, all new bathrooms.
But residents have concerns about rent increasing. Millennia told me today rent will not go up.
Rents are set by HUD, and it's scheduled as to a formula, so the rent will be based on the percentage of their income, which should stay the same.
The project proposal will go through a first reading at City Council tonight.
I think does do that. I think it does address every single issue that the residents are concerned about. We just need the opportunity to do that.
Now, those plans also include a community center, even a new playground. Millennia says it will also bear the costs of moving expenses as they shift people around the complex during this construction process, which I'm told could start as early as this November.
And weather-wise, there's a look at our Live 5 camera across the Palm Beaches right now. And we do have some wet weather marching towards the metro areas. You can see some showers and some storms have built inland. And with the winds coming in out of the southwest, some of these showers are making a run towards the east coast. So right now you can see from Jupiter through the Gardens and right on into West Palm Beach, we're starting to see a bit of wet weather up and down I-95 and the Turnpike as well, and into South County. We're also seeing a few showers. And notice inland we have more, and these will be pushing towards the east coast over the next few hours. Along the Treasure Coast, we're not seeing much right now except for Okeechobee County and the town of Okeechobee seeing some thunderstorm activity right there, and that will be pushing towards the Fort Pierce and Stewart area. Otherwise, we do have a lot of tropical moisture well to our north, but we have drier air coming in from the south, and with this drier air in place, we're going to see relatively low rainfall chances for the next couple of days, but eventually the tropical moisture will start to make a run back into South Florida. So about a 30% chance of a shower storm through Friday, but it does go up a little bit more for the weekend, even more so next week.
We'll take a look at this. Further proof when a storm rolls in that no place is fully safe from being struck by lightning. Now, this car was struck by a bolt on Monday in Collier County. Luckily, no one was inside that parked car at the time. Yikes. And good news for the owners of this Central Florida home here. The Mount Dora City Council just agreed to let them keep this Starry Night paint job. That's according to the Orlando Sentinel. The home has been the subject of a year-long battle with code enforcement. The couple recreated the masterpiece for their son, who is on the spectrum and loves Van Gogh's work. Here's another part of the settlement. The city has to pay the homeowners $15,000, and the mayor has to apologize. We're getting closer to the college football season, and that means new uniforms. These are the new Michael Jordan-inspired Jumpman uniforms that the Florida Gators will be wearing. The school is the only one in the Southeastern Conference to sport this special brand for Nike. The Gators kick off 6 weeks from Saturday in the Swamp. Kelly Dunn joining me now on what the team's working on, all new at 5 o'clock.
That's right. Speaking of the team, since I'm a Gator,
yes,
I'm all in favor. I think
Happy about that.
all you can do is make orange and blue look good in anything that you put it on. Just my little plug for the Gators. All right. Alana, coming up today at 5, criminals are still getting their hands on our money. They're putting skimmers on gas pumps. Have you ever seen one?
I have heard of them, and they're everywhere. They seem to be. We're always hearing about those.
Exactly. Thankfully, I've never seen one, never been taken by it, but Contact 5 investigator Maris Badcock learned not only are these skimming crimes rising rapidly, South Florida is apparently ground zero for these. And at 5, we'll see what a Wellington woman noticed when she was hacked and how you can protect your money.
Very helpful information. We'll have to tune in for that at 5 o'clock. Thanks, Kelly.
Have you ever lied about how much money you make? You know, maybe you're trying to impress somebody by saying you make a little bit more. Well, that's not the case with a growing number of married women who are actually making more money than their husbands. New research from the Census Bureau shows some couples, they are lying to hide the fact their man makes less. The Now's Annie Taylor looking into why this is.
So you have two really modern people still working the old way.
Relationship therapist YY Wei says society plays a huge part into why couples are uncomfortable sharing their salaries, just like we saw with the latest Census Bureau survey.
All of us are still living under all this pressure. And also, no one's really openly talking about it.
Although we live in an era where the power of women is stronger than ever, Wei says many women aren't owning their roles in the relationship.
When they finally come to me, it's because enough's enough. They can't bear the pain of losing who they are. It's like they are having a fight with themselves, who I need to be versus who I want to be.
We wanted to hit the streets to find out why women are hiding their salaries and what men think about all this.
I think women sometimes may be self-conscious about saying what their real salary is, especially when they're in a relationship, because they don't want to make the man insecure.
Men of both generations recognize that women deserve to be paid the same or sometimes even more, but for some it's still difficult to accept.
Oh, we're still animals, we're Neanderthals, we'll never get over that. Maybe the next generation.
They shouldn't suppress it if it's solely because they're afraid to hurt the guy's pride.
If we want both men and women to feel proud of what they make, women we spoke with say society needs to get on board the equality train.
And people should be way more transparent about it, because that's how you know what other people are making and you can kind of ask for more in your own life. But maybe, I guess, if no one's talking about it, then you don't feel comfortable talking about it either.
We might be in the 21st century, but clearly from all those conversations, we have a lot of growing to do. But the consensus is that we need to start talking about our salary more and more and getting comfortable with knowing what we all make. For the Now, I'm Annie Taylor.
That is really interesting. All right, Annie, thank you. And we keep hearing about this. Planes getting more and more cramped due to shrinking seats. Just recently, the FAA said it's not up to them to regulate the size of airplane seats. Well, in the past few years, airlines, they have been able to add more seats thanks to smaller sizes. I mean, just take a look. The average Airbus A321, that's gained 19 more seats. This is according to airline consulting firm ICF. Now, the average Boeing 737-8, that is 13 more seats squeezed in. Now, obviously not the most comfortable ride when there are more passengers on board. So now some senators, they're trying to pass a bill to make seating requirements. Now, that might not be the only change we see. The Department of Transportation also doing an audit. It's to see if we can actually evacuate a plane within 90 seconds. That's despite the smaller seats, more crowded airplanes. Well, the FAA did a report saying it is possible. So what now? While we wait for these changes to happen? Well, you should avoid low-cost airlines. That's a tip from Elliott, which is a consumer agency. Those budget airlines, they tend to have less space on board. Also, try looking for the good seats in economy. Those are usually the exit row, but also the bulkhead seats, which are the ones at the front of the economy section. All right, let's get back to our lineup here on this Wednesday afternoon. A heads up, the next time you're shopping for a car, because there's a new rule that some dealerships just aren't following, could end up costing you thousands of dollars. Really good information there. You're watching The Now. Welcome back to The Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and buying a used car, it can really feel like you're just rolling a dice. You hope that you're getting something reliable, but there is a little known rule designed to potentially save us thousands of dollars in repairs once we get down the road. And Annie Taylor's here to talk about that. And it really is a sticker you need to look for that you have right here.
Yeah, this is it, the buyer's guide, and
Okay.
it should be on every used car that is for sale. And if it's not, well, you probably shouldn't be shopping on that car lot. So the Federal Trade Commission recently updated this buyer's guide to make things more clear and obviously transparent for car shoppers. Car lots were required to have these new guides posted earlier this year. So the government just finished a whole entire sweep in 20 different cities to see if it was really happening. Of the 94 dealerships they inspected, half didn't have the new guides on any cars. 33 had the guide on more than half the cars, and 14 had it on all their used vehicles. Here's what you need to know about the new guide that can save you a lot of money later on. First off, it has a more clear as-is sale warning, meaning there is absolutely no coverage of repairs. New is the non-dealer warranties. Those will tell you if the manufacturer may still cover some repairs. The dealer warranty box should list out the vehicle's history report and any recalls it has. If there is a recall, the seller doesn't have to fix it, and you can still get recalls fixed for free after you buy it. Knowing all of this, though, up front will help you make better decisions about if that car is more likely to break down on you. So, more information, the better for you.
Annie, thank you. And your best bet when it comes to buying used, well, that's a certified pre-owned vehicle. Now, they come with additional warranties, and dealerships, they also tend to throw in some deals with it too. This month, Auto Trader found that GMC, Hyundai, Nissan, Toyota, Volkswagen, and Volvo, they have the best certified pre-owned deals. Some of them offer cash back, roadside assistance, cheaper interest rates for financing. The extended warranties, they also can go for 100,000 miles. All right, let's get to the Now News Feed. Some news stories that we do want to keep you updated on. And this is just amazing. This huge iceberg that's near Greenland, it is so big you can actually see it from space. That's where this picture's from, the European Space Agency posting this image. People have actually been evacuated from the village near where this is because there are concerns a big chunk could fall off, go into the water, and just cause some massive waves. Mega Millions, that keeps getting bigger. No winner last night in the 10th largest jackpot ever. But now the jackpot's $422 million. Next drawing for that on Friday. And we now know the owner of a mysterious projector that was found at a Goodwill store in Georgia. There was a woman who bought the projector. She found all these old family photos on it. They look like they're from, maybe like the 1950s. So she posted the pictures on social media looking for answers. It went viral. And then she says the family reached out to her and she's going to hand those pictures over. Interesting to hear the opinions on this one. A 17-year-old boy decided to buy his friend's lunch. Great, right? Well, then he got shamed by the restaurant for how he paid. Yeah, the restaurant posted a picture of the $20 bill and then all this change that he used to pay a $45 tab. Now, he did leave a $10 tip as well. Now, the teen says that he had all that change because he too is a server. Well, the boys felt what the restaurant did, it was mean.
They said we didn't have any home training.
That was probably one of
dirty.
the biggest things that one of their hashtags was hashtag no home training.
I was going to delete it, and then after all, then when all those saying, I'm like, you know what, we're not backing down because originally we never mean anything bad to them.
Now, that was the owner of the restaurant who did apologize and said it was all just supposed to be a joke.
All right, well, otherwise, here's a look from our High 5 camera across the Palm Beaches, and we do have some rain showers coming from our interior areas, now moving towards coastal communities, and you can see the rain coming down across portions of the Palm Beaches right now. So there are the showers. You can see them. Not many lightning strikes, but we are seeing some locally heavy downpours from West Palm Beach through the shores up towards the Gardens and over towards Jupiter as well, and a few more from Lion Country Safari into Wellington, and then down the Turnpike and I-95 towards the Delray Beach area and into Boca as well. Now, in the meantime, along the Treasure Coast, at least along the coast, we're not seeing much right now, but we do have a couple of showers and thunderstorms moving across Lake Okeechobee, and these will continue to move in this direction towards Indiantown, Stewart, and Hope Sound. So basically, we will continue to see some showers along the coast through the evening hours, and then after that, we're going to start to dry things out. Now, overnight tonight, we're going to see temperatures in the middle and the upper 70s. Another scorcher tomorrow with temperature in the lower to the middle 90s. And here's your extended forecast. Tomorrow, dry air sits on top of us, so we'll have about a 30% chance of a shower or a storm, and that'll be the story into Friday as well.
Well, here is proof that you can find art anywhere. The city of Port St. Lucie is wrapping utility boxes with work from local artists. You're looking at the very first one here at Eroso and Prime Vista Boulevard. That one was created by artist Chelsea Rubenstein. Last year, the city asked for submissions and received roughly 200 of them. The city says 20 more have been approved and will soon decorate more boxes across the St. Lucie County city. Bright blue water and plenty of boating out on the Jupiter Inlet for this summery South Florida day. The inlet is a special resource that many enjoy, but some are taking extra steps to protect it. The Now's Amy Littman explains what a group of locals are doing and how you can get involved.
This right here is why many people move to Jupiter, and it's also why a group of people from the area decided to start their own nonprofit to better educate people about the inlet and protect this precious waterway. It's a gorgeous day on the Jupiter Inlet. Crystal clear water.
You can see the fish.
Perfect for Ted Studemeyer to cast out a line.
Trying to catch some bait fish for catch bigger fish later on tonight.
That's why Bob Shaw and several others want to make sure the inlet stays this way.
I want to keep what's remaining for my 9-year-old daughter.
Shaw is now the director of a new nonprofit called the Jupiter Inlet Foundation.
A bunch of us realized that the Jupiter Inlet and its waterways were being endangered, and we wanted to create awareness.
Awareness of endangered seagrass in particular.
We don't want any anchoring on it or dragging your propeller along it. That's one of the major ways it can be damaged.
The group is raising money for informational buoys that would tell boaters about the endangered seagrass beneath them. That's critical habitat for marine life.
We've already met with a lot of the regulatory agencies.
And the foundation eventually wants to see more legal protections put in place for the inlet and get more people involved in the water they boat on and depend on.
It's this community of people who want to protect what we have. You know, it's the jewel of Jupiter.
Great idea. Yeah, fantastic. Somebody's got to do it.
If you want to get involved, Jupiter Inlet Foundation is hosting its first volunteer meeting on July 26th at 6:30 p.m. at Old Town Hall in Jupiter. Reporting in Jupiter, Amy Littman for The Now, South Florida.
This is not how a tourist imagined a beach trip would go. A woman impaled with a beach umbrella, the wind causing it to blow around. This happened in New Jersey. The umbrella apparently going straight into the woman's ankle, and that injury is so bad. Going to be honest, some graphic details here. Emergency crews had to use a bolt cutter to get it out. Now, the woman was taken to the hospital for surgery, and we can tell you she is doing well. But wow. Well, employees at a Colorado Starbucks helping turn a bad day around for a teen with disabilities. Sydney Johansson was going to take her senior pictures, and it started just pouring outside. And she couldn't reschedule, so Sydney, her mom, and photographer, they ended up in a Starbucks parking lot to take the pictures. And they weren't sure if they were able to take the pictures there, but to their surprise, an employee invited them inside to take those special photos.
All of these fates aligned and gave me the most perfect story for my most perfect kid. And I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Now, if you're curious as to why Starbucks, apparently it's a popular hangout spot for a lot of teenagers there. Well, a nervous and stressed out groom on his wedding day should have no doubt that he picked the right girl. Yeah, his bride noticed that he just wasn't able to relax, so she decided to just do something pretty funny to take his mind off everything. Check it out.
And I hear like these gentle, quiet footsteps behind me. And, you know, and then the most gentle touch on my shoulder. And then I look back, I'm like, oh, there she is. She's so beautiful. And then I look back, I just lose my mind. It was so funny. All the emotions kind of start flowing out, and I was just totally calm, hilarious.
So the bride got her brother to put on a wedding dress to surprise the groom during the first look photos. Definitely lighten the mood. I mean, you know, he can rock the dress pretty well. Those photos are now going viral. Well, if you watch the news in the past, say, 5 years or so, you know all about skimmers at gas stations. So much talk about that. Those little devices, they steal your credit card information. But have you heard of digital skimmers? Yeah, thieves have figured out a new way to use the internet to steal our information while we're shopping online. People using Ticketmaster, the most recent victims, and Tomorrow on the Now, how they're doing it, and of course, what you can do to protect yourself. But finally in our lineup today, a look at the concrete jungle that we're living in. Yeah, how one little change in the way that we build it, it can make a huge impact on our planet. That's next here on The Now. That's some news stories for you here in the Now newsfeed. Listen to this. Researchers saying the later you eat dinner, the more likely you are to develop certain forms of cancer. Yeah, they looked at people with prostate and breast cancer, and people who ate dinner before 9 p.m., they had a lower risk of getting sick. Doctors say those cancers, they can be connected to parts of the body in charge of energy and sleep. Well, maybe you've forgotten to pay a toll once, twice, but definitely not as much as a woman in Pennsylvania. She racked up a bill of more than $92,000. This was over a period of 5 years, but this week she was sentenced to 2 years probation and 200 hours of community service. Well, the Full House, well, it's really a must-see if you ever go to San Francisco, but tour buses, they will no longer be able to go down that street. The city banning buses, it's not that big of a street, just because neighbors have complained so much about the traffic. Well, we all know the impact that the gases from our cars can have on the environment. But what if there was a way to reduce the impact of tens of thousands of them without having to take them off the road? Well, one company's found a way, and as the Now's Kamasi Aaron found, they're using something that's often hidden right in plain sight.
From busy highways to skyscrapers, concrete, it's everywhere. But we rarely think about how it's made and the impact it's having on our environment. Cement, concrete's essential ingredient, releases carbon dioxide or CO2 into the atmosphere. And according to NASA, when CO2 concentrations rise, so does the temperature of the planet.
There's a lot of traffic down there, so we'll make sure everybody sees you.
I visited one concrete company doing their part to change that.
We've been able to keep 16 million pounds of CO2 from going into the atmosphere.
Thomas Concrete has started making some of their concrete with CarbonCure.
So we'll go right around the edge of the plant here.
Justin Lazenby showed me how the system adds CO2 to concrete.
This is it. So
it reacts with the concrete and becomes a mineral, trapping the CO2. And get this, it makes the concrete even stronger.
We can reduce our cement content, which therefore reduces clinker consumption, which reduces greenhouse gases. So we're able to pull all that good out for the environment, and we still meet the same performance.
We got to see that firsthand.
It actually broke 6,890 PSI. It was a 5,000 PSI mix, so it's actually over design strength.
Concrete with CarbonCure costs the same as traditional concrete, but Justin says the payoff goes far beyond that.
If you really look at it, you're removing around 150 million cars off the road with that number. I mean, it's a huge deal.
Now, Thomas Concrete is using CarbonCure on projects like this, a mixed-use development which will be the largest building ever made with CarbonCure concrete.
I hope it grows. We don't have to do what our dads did and our granddads did. You know, let's move forwards and do things better.
For The Now, I'm Kamasi Aaron.
It's really interesting stuff there. Kamasi, thank you. And that'll do it for us today here on The Now. I'm Chris Stewart. The news at 5 is next.
Now, Storm Team 5 with South Florida's most accurate weather forecast.
All right, storms arriving near the coast, some heavy rainfall, gusty winds.